Good morning, students. I am Miss Lucy D'Souza, will be teaching you history and political science. I hope you all are fine and safe at home. Today, we will start with political science. The first lesson is the working of the Constitution. Students, you all are quite aware of what is Constitution. It is a book of set of rules for governing our country. It came into force on 26 January 1950, and since our country government has been working according to the principle of this constitution. Till now, you have learnt about local government. Local government means Panchayat Samiti, Gram Panchayat. Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti, Jilla Parishad, this were all works at village, taluka or district level. Whereas municipal council and municipal corporation works at city. So these are all called as local government bodies. The Indian Constitution has declared its objectives to establish a secular and democratic republic. Secularism means government treats all religion equally, whereas democratic republic means rule by the people. People elect the head of the country. For example, our country's Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, is being elected by the people of India. So, students, in this chapter, we will learn how our country's constitution works. The whole lesson is divided into three parts. First part is democracy, second part is social justice, and third is judicial system. So let's begin with the first part of the lesson, that is democracy. Under the democracy, first point is political maturity. Maturity means to know or to be aware. So political maturity means people should be mature about the political rights and freedom given to the citizens. Even people must be aware that citizens has right to question the government, and not only that, even the government is answerable to the citizens. That means government has to answer the citizens. Citizens has the power to elect the new government by electing the representatives, that is members of the parliament in the Lok Sabha or MLAs in state legislature assembly. Holding free and fair elections at regular interval is also important for India's successful democracy. As more people participate in democracy, our country's democracy will become successful. So to make our country's democracy successful, people should be aware about the fundamental objectives, that is rights and duties. Now next under democracy is right to vote. Our country's constitution has given the right to vote for the citizens who have completed 18 years. Every citizen above 18 years get voting right, whether the person is rich or poor, male or female, or of any caste and religion. Before independence, lot of restriction was done on right to vote. For example, backward class people were denied the right to vote. Women were also denied the right to vote. But after independence, Indian Constitution guaranteed adult suffrage by giving right to vote equally to both men and women. Adult suffrage means universal adult franchise. So suffrage means franchise, and franchise means right to vote. So every citizen above 18 has a right to vote. Earlier, when India got independence, the voting age was 21 years. Then in 1989, bill was passed and voting age was reduced from 21 to 18 years. So this gave opportunity of political participation to the young generation. So, no other democratic country in the world has voters in such large numbers. Hence, Indian democracy is the largest democracy in the world. India has the largest number of voters compared to any other democratic nations. So this change is not only quantitative but also qualitative. Quantitative means voters are in large number. So it is not talking about quantity but quality. Quality means voters are effectively using the right to vote by electing the good government. And if the government does not work properly, then in the next election, voters will not vote that government. So political parties work for the expectations of people so that voters will vote them. Now we shall learn next topic under democracy, that is decentralization of democracy. Decentralization of democracy means distributing powers. For example, central government gives powers to state government and state government gives powers to the local government. Decentralization controls misuse of power. For example, if power is given to one person only, then he or she may misuse it. So to control misuse of power and corruption in political system, powers are distributed from the highest authority to the lowest one. That is, powers are distributed from central government to state government and state government to local self-government. So there are less chances of misuse of power. And one more thing, due to decentralization, more common people are participating in governing system. For example, sarpanch, corporator, mayor and ministers. When our constitution was prepared, one provision was made under the title The Directive Principles of State Policy. It was regarding empowering the local self-government. It means when constitution was prepared in 1950, there was no power given to local self-government. But it was mentioned that in future, local government bodies will be given power. So as per this provision, 73rd and 74th Amendment was scheduled in 1992, giving powers to local self-government. Amendment means changes. We can make changes in constitution. But our constitution is fixed. We cannot remove any law, but can add new law as per the requirement. So 73rd Amendment Act contains powers given to Panchayati Raj, that means to rural areas. And 74th Amendment Act contains powers given to municipal corporation, that is to the urban areas. 73rd and 74th Amendment gave a constitutional status to local self-governing institutions and also increased their powers. So let's see what changes have taken place after the 73rd and 74th Amendment. So read the first point. Some seats are kept reserved for women to increase their participation in political process. So in India, 33% seats are reserved for women in politics. And now in Maharashtra and few more states, women have 50% reservation seats at local self-government. But at national and state level, it is 33% reserved only. So this reservation has helped to increase the participation of women in politics. Now read the second point. Some seats are kept reserved for weaker sections of the society so that they can get a share in political power. Weaker section means scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other backward caste people. So as per the 73rd and 74th Amendment, seats are reserved for them to give equal opportunity in politics and to come in power. Students, Now read third point. The State Election Commission has been established. Students, you are aware of election process. When election is held at national level, then that election process is being conducted by Election Commission of India. Similarly, when election is held in state, municipal election or panchayat election, then those election is being conducted by State Election Commission. So to conduct election at state level, State Election Commission has been established. Students, now read the last point. The 11th and 12th schedule was added to the Constitution. Schedule means list. So 11th and 12th list was added in Constitution. When Constitution was formed, that time 8 schedules were there. And now there are 12 schedules. 11th schedule contains 73rd Amendment. And 12th schedule contains 74th Amendment. As per these schedules, local government bodies got powers. Now next we will learn right to information. This right was given in 2005. Due to this right, citizens have a right to know about the functioning of the government. As per this right, citizens has power to ask question to government and government has to answer it. But any question we cannot ask. For example, we cannot ask where is India's nuclear kept? How much weapons our Indian military have? Such information we cannot ask. But we can ask how much money is spent on road construction or railway construction or for some other welfare facilities. Such information we can ask government and government is answerable to it. This right is also creating opportunities for citizens to participate in government. Right to Information Act has increased communication between government and citizens, which helps in strengthening Indian democracy and trust on government. The Government of India gave the right to information to the citizens of India to ensure transparency and accountability, which are the hallmarks of good governance. Transparency means we can see or get information what is government doing. Nothing is kept secret. And accountability means answerable, whereas government is answerable to the people. Transparency and accountability are the hallmarks of good governance. That means we can say government is working honestly for the people's welfare and there will be no more corruption in the governing system. Right to information has made the government transparent and has reduced the element of secrecy. Secrecy means nothing is secret or can be hidden by the government. Everything is known to the people. That means government works have become more transparent, which shows the sign of good governance. After the year 2000, 3 new rights were given to the citizens in India, which are considered as rights of citizens. First, right to information. Second, right to education. And the third one, right to food security. Right to education means everyone has a right to get education, whereas right to food security is given to the people below poverty line. That means people get food grains at subsidized rate. For example, at ration shop, food grains are sold at rupees 2 or 3 per kg. This act was made so that people should not die due to food starvation. So these rights have strengthened democracy in India. Now let's see, do you know? Right-based approach. Right-based approach is not any fundamental right, but every citizen should know their rights and claim those rights whenever necessary for the human development. Earlier, people used to consider that government is doing welfare for the people. Citizens used to consider that we are getting benefit from government. But after decades of independence, this approach changed. Now, people understood that government's work is to do work for the people. This approach has changed and is considered as right of the citizens. Now let's see discussion questions. Do you think that citizens in India should have the right to employment? And the answer is yes. All Indian citizens should get right to employment because employment is necessary to fulfill the basic necessities of the person. If they will be deprived of employment, then their families will face hunger and starvation. Crime will also increase in society. So, employment should be generated for citizens' progress. And indirectly, citizens' progress will help in the country's development. Now let's read second question. According to you, if everyone gets the right to shelter, how will it affect democracy in India? And the discussion is, shelter is not only his necessity, but also his right. Home for all creates a healthy society. If a man gets home, his struggle and financial burden will become less, and he will work honestly, which will help in country's progress. So students, here we finished learning the first part of the lesson, democracy. Remaining part of the lesson we shall learn in next video. So goodbye and be safe at home. Thank you.